Did you know that after his life with Nicole Kidman ended, Keith Urban disappeared from the spotlight for a while? Fans thought he would never open his heart again, but now quiet whispers say he may have found someone new, and people can't believe who it is. Some are happy for him, others are shocked, and many are asking the same question: how did he move on? This isn't a story about drama or blame, it's about love, heartbreak, and healing when nobody is watching. Keith went from music stages filled with lights to silent nights filled with questions and loneliness. And somewhere in that silence, someone stepped into his life. Not a Hollywood star, not a headline, just a calm, gentle presence who understood his heart more than his fame. Today, we're going to explore that journey, the pain he never spoke about, the truth behind the silence, and the woman fans didn't expect. Stay with me till the end, because this story may not give you the drama you expect, but it will give you the truth you've never heard before. Early life and how Keith and Nicole first meet before the cameras, before the fame and red carpets. Keith Urban was just a shy boy living in Australia, holding a guitar that was almost bigger than him. His parents weren't rich, but they believed in him. He spent hours in his small bedroom, strumming strings, dreaming of one day singing on big stages. Music wasn't just something he loved. It was his way of escaping the noise of the world, the loneliness he sometimes felt, and the feeling of not fully belonging anywhere. While other kids played outside, Keith stayed inside, writing songs about love and pain he hadn't even lived yet. His father would drive him to small music competitions, and his mother would sit in the front row, smiling proudly. Even then, Keith had a soft heart, the kind of heart that loved deeply, quietly, and honestly. And then, fate stepped in. It was 2005, a charity event in Los Angeles. Stars were dressed in diamonds and designer suits. Reporters were asking questions. Flashes from cameras lit up the room. And somewhere in that crowd, Keith Urban saw her, Nicole Kidman. She stood with grace, smiling politely, but her eyes looked tired. She looked like someone who had carried too much on her heart for too long. People expected Keith to walk up to her like a confident rock star, but he didn't. He stood quietly, nervous, unsure if he should even go near her. Nicole noticed him too, the country singer with gentle eyes, standing away from the noise. Later she said, "He didn't try to impress me, he didn't flirt. He just looked at me like he saw the real me, not the actress." When Keith finally walked up to her, he didn't say anything dramatic. He simply said hello, smiled softly, and asked how she was doing. No fancy lines, no showing off, just kindness. For the next few weeks they exchanged calls, quiet conversations, small laughs. He would send her short messages like, "Hope your day is gentle," and she would reply, "It feels better when I talk to you." Nicole once said in an interview, "I felt safe with him. For the first time in years, I felt seen." What they didn't know then was that this simple, quiet connection would turn into one of the most beautiful and heartbreaking love stories in Hollywood history. Their love story and dream marriage. Their love story didn't explode like fireworks. It grew like a quiet sunrise, slowly, softly, beautifully. After their first meeting, Keith and Nicole began talking more often. They weren't just sharing words, they were sharing their hearts. Keith would call her late at night after his concerts, his voice tired but warm, and Nicole would listen, lying in bed, smiling at every word. She once said, "He didn't make me feel like an actress, he made me feel like a woman, a real person." Keith admired her strength, her kindness, and the way she still believed in love. Even after so much heartbreak, Nicole admired his honesty, his soft voice, and how he stayed humble even with fame knocking at his door. Just a few months later, Keith flew to New York to see her. There were no photographers, no press, just two people meeting like ordinary lovers. They walked in Central Park without bodyguards. They drank coffee at a small cafe like nobody knew them. For the first time in a long time, Nicole felt free. She didn't need makeup, designer clothes, or bright lights. She just needed Keith by her side. Their love was simple, pure, and silent. But the world slowly began to notice. Paparazzi started taking pictures. Headlines began asking, "Is Nicole Kidman in love again?" But they didn't care. They were happy. In 2006, just a year after they met, Keith asked Nicole to marry him. He didn't do it on a stage or with a diamond, the size of a mountain. He proposed in a quiet place, under the soft glow of candlelight, and with tears in his eyes. Nicole said yes without a second thought. That same year, they married in a beautiful church in Sydney, Australia. The ceremony was filled with soft music, white flowers, candles, and only their closest family and friends. Nicole walked down the aisle in a simple, elegant gown, holding a small bouquet. Keith's eyes filled with tears as he watched her walk towards him. He later said, "In that moment, I didn't see the actress, I saw the love of my life." But even the most beautiful love stories have shadows we cannot see, and behind the smiles and picture-perfect moments, something fragile was slowly breaking. Silent struggles and hidden pain. From the outside, their marriage looked perfect. Beautiful home, 2 successful careers, and a love story everyone admired. But behind closed doors, there were quiet tears no one saw. Keith, even though he was deeply in love, still carried a heavy battle inside him, a battle with addiction and self-doubt that began long before he met Nicole. Some nights, he would sit alone in his music room, guitar in hand, trying to write songs, but instead he was fighting his own thoughts. Nicole would find him lost in silence, staring at nothing, and she would gently sit beside him, holding his hand without saying a word. She believed love could heal him. She believed she could save him from his pain, and she tried with all her heart. Keith once said she was his angel, his calm in the storm. But loving someone who is hurting can sometimes hurt you too. Nicole woke up many nights afraid of losing him, afraid of seeing him slip back into the darkness. Yet she never shouted, never blamed him. Instead, she whispered, "I'm here, I'm not leaving." She encouraged him to get help, and when he finally agreed to go to rehab, she stood at the door, kissed his forehead, and said, "Come back to me, I'll wait." And she did. She waited silently, away from cameras, praying he would come back stronger. But while Keith fought his inner demons, Nicole was fighting her own silent battles. Fame was loud. Everyone had opinions about her, what she wore, how she looked, how she spoke. She had lost so much in life before, her first marriage, her peace, her trust, and she was afraid of losing Keith too. She smiled in interviews, but behind that smile was a woman, holding on tightly to the man she loved, hoping love was enough. Some days were beautiful, full of music, laughter, and warm hugs, but some days were filled with quiet arguments, long silence, and tears on pillows. When Keith came out of rehab, he thanked Nicole publicly for saving his life. He said, "She loved me when I couldn't love myself." But healing is not a straight road. There were good days, and there were days when old wounds returned. They tried to stay strong, they prayed, they talked, they held on to each other. But slowly, something in their marriage began to fade. Not love, but peace. They still loved each other deeply, but the pain never fully left their home. They didn't fight in public, they didn't blame each other, they simply grew quiet. Fans noticed their smiles looked different, their eyes looked tired. They still held hands, but something felt distant. And that's the hardest part, when two people still love each other, but their hearts are too tired to keep fighting the same battle. When everything started to change. As time passed after their separation, the world assumed Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman had quietly moved on. But deep inside, both of them were fighting their own silent battles. Keith tried to focus on his music career, pouring his emotions into songs that touched millions of hearts. But fans noticed something different. His smile looked a little forced. His eyes carried a story of someone who had loved deeply and lost something precious. People wondered, was he truly healing or just pretending to be okay for the cameras? Months turned into years, and slowly, the music star began to stand up again. He toured across countries, winning awards, meeting new people, and trying to rebuild his life. But then, something happened that shocked everyone. Rumors started to spread. Keith Urban might be seeing someone new. At first, no one believed it. After such a long and emotional journey, people thought he wasn't ready, but whispers grew louder. Fans were stunned when they learned who this new woman might be. She wasn't a random person. She wasn't a hidden figure. She was someone the world already knew, kind, graceful, and someone no one expected to be connected to Keith in this way. But behind all the noise, behind the headlines and camera flashes, Keith stayed quiet. He didn't make big announcements. He didn't show off or try to prove anything. He simply spent time with this person, gently, quietly, slowly, like someone trying to understand love all over again. And that made fans even more curious. Was this real love, or just a way to forget the past? While the world kept talking, Nicole Kidman stayed silent. She didn't speak against Keith. She didn't show anger or jealousy. Instead, she focused on her children, her films, and finding peace in her own life. But many wondered, what did she really feel? Did it hurt to see him with someone else? Or was she finally free from the pain of the past? Keith Urban's new relationship, who is she? As Keith's new relationship quietly grew, the world couldn't stop watching. Fans searched for every detail, a glance caught on camera, a soft smile during an interview, even the way he spoke about love in his songs. And the woman beside him, she wasn't loud or dramatic, she was calm, elegant, and carried herself with a quiet strength. Many people said she brought peace into Keith's life, something he had been missing for a long time, but others still couldn't accept it. They held on to the past, comparing her to Nicole Kidman, asking if this love would last or fade like a forgotten memory. Meanwhile, Nicole lived her life far from the noise. She focused on her family, her daughters, and the peaceful moments only a mother understands. But sometimes, when she appeared at award shows or interviews, people noticed a gentle sadness in her eyes, like someone who had loved deeply, lost quietly, and learned to heal in silence. Still, she carried herself with grace. She never spoke badly about Keith. She never tried to stop him from finding happiness again. That silence said more than any words could. But the world continued to ask, did Nicole know about Keith's new love? Did it hurt her? Or had she already let go of that chapter long ago? Some close friends whispered that Nicole only wanted one thing, for Keith to be truly happy. Because when someone you once loved finally finds peace, sometimes that is enough. And just when people thought the story was settling, something unexpected happened. A single photo went viral. Keith and this woman holding hands at a private event. No hiding, no fear, just two people, standing side by side. The internet erupted. Fans commented non-stop. Some were shocked, some were happy, and some asked the question no one wanted to answer. Was this the beginning of a new love story, or the end of the one he shared with Nicole forever? Moving on. But did their hearts fully heal? After that unforgettable night, something shifted, not just for Nicole and Keith, but for the people who had followed their story for years. It felt like a chapter quietly closed, not with anger, not with pain, but with acceptance. Yet one question still lingered in the air. Did their hearts fully heal? Keith continued building his new life. His concerts felt more peaceful. His smile seemed softer, more genuine, and beside him, the woman who stood quietly through all the noise, became a steady part of his world. She didn't try to take the place of anyone. She simply offered comfort, stability, and warmth. The kind of love that doesn't shout, but whispers, "You're safe now." For the first time in a long time, Keith seemed free, not from his past, but from the pain it once carried. Still, late at night, fans wondered, did they ever think of each other? Did a song, a movie, a hidden memory ever bring back the past? No one knows, and maybe no one needs to. Because healing is not about forgetting, it's about learning to live with the memories, without pain. But destiny had one more question for them. Were they truly at peace, or were some feelings still left unspoken, still waiting in the quiet corners of their hearts? Peace or pretend? Where their lives stand today. Today both Nicole and Keith live completely different lives, far from where their love story began. From the outside, everything looks calm, but is it true peace, or just a beautiful way of pretending? Keith is often seen smiling on stage, holding his guitar, performing with a calmness he never had before. His new partner supports him quietly, never seeking attention. She stands backstage, not in the spotlight, and that's what makes people believe, maybe this love is real. A love built not on fame, but on healing. Friends close to Keith say he laughs more now, sleeps better, and no longer carries the heavy silence he once did. But is everything truly healed? No one can say for sure, because healing doesn't mean forgetting. Sometimes, peace is simply choosing to live without reopening old wounds. Nicole and Keith may not be in each other's lives anymore, but they no longer stand in pain either, and that in its own way, is a kind of love, quiet, mature, and peaceful. Some fans still wonder, if they ever met alone, without cameras, without pressure, what would they say to each other? Would they talk about love, about mistakes, or just smile, and say nothing at all, letting go, but never forgetting? So, after all the love, the pain, the silence, and the healing, what remains between Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban? Not anger, not regret, but something quieter, respect. Their story didn't end the way people imagined. There was no dramatic goodbye, no harsh words. Instead, it faded gently, like the last note of a beautiful song. They loved deeply, they suffered silently, and when it was time, they let each other go. Keith found someone new who brought peace back into his life. Nicole found strength in herself and comfort in her family. They both moved forward, but they never erased their past, because some memories are not meant to be forgotten, only accepted. And maybe that is the real meaning of love, not holding on forever, but wishing the other person happiness, even when you're no longer part of their story. So tell me, do you believe they truly moved on, or do you think some love never really disappears? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this story touched your heart, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more real stories, more emotions, and more moments that stay with you long after the video ends. Don't forget to like, share, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload.